Guys, we got a special show tonight. We are actually not bringing on a fantasy analyst tonight. We're actually bringing on one of our biggest fans for the show. So stay tuned. It should be a good one.
Fantasy football, you dealing with the best. Keep it hype, authentic, this ain't nothing like the rest. With the Armchair Fantasy Show podcast, give advice for all the listeners to improve your stats. Yeah, we live on goingfor2.com. Tuesdays and Fridays, this is what you want. Talking dynasties and daily drafts, and we just getting started, that ain't even the half. Yeah, so go ahead, tell your friends to join. Going for two, cause no one remembers the extra point. Hey, goingfor2.com, the Armchair Fantasy Show.
What's going on, guys? All right, welcome to episode 118 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I'm your host, of course, Jeff Lambert. You can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. We're live every Tuesday and Friday night on Facebook Live, Periscope, and YouTube. Of course, streaming in all your podcast networks and streaming in the Going for Two app for iOS and Android. I'm here as always with my co-host, Mr. Ryan Steerfoss. Ryan, how you doing tonight, man?
It's fantastic. Enjoying the snow. Enjoying watching Lamar Jackson just thrash the world on Sunday. So great.
Yeah, you're in a much better mood than I am after last night's game. I'm pretty tilted over that. I think we should have gotten that game. We should have pulled it out. But
yeah, dude, you also only got one loss.
Yeah, I know, but it still hurts. It's the Seahawks, though. If it was one loss and we had it against like some random team, but the Seahawks is our rival, and I hate losing to them at any time. All right, also joining us tonight is a guy that's been with us since the beginning of the podcast starting. He's watched quite a few episodes since we've gone live. He's always in the chat room talking it up. Mr. AJ Smithington, how you doing tonight, man?
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we?
Good stuff, man. Good. So, just real quick, man, give me a little bit of how long you've been playing fantasy.
Bless you. I've been playing fantasy in general for about 7 years, done about 5 on DFS. Used to hate PPR, but like Omaha Hold'em, you pick up Omaha eventually, and PPR is kind of the only thing I prefer to play now, which is weird because I used to think it was terrible and wretched, but it's been a lot of fun. It helps speed up the nerd curve for football, definitely. I enjoy the nerdiness of it. It's very good.
Good stuff. So how are you doing this year in your leagues?
I've got one. Actually, I think I'm 6-3 in both leagues. My money league, I'm sitting right around the outskirts of 6 out of 12, and then I'm positioned at the 4 spot in the Work Pride League. That's 16 teams. 16. Weird format. 1 QB, 1 running back. Start 2 wide receivers and 2 flex with defensive positions, which I haven't really played much with defensive positions, but that's been fun. Yeah,
I'm in the IDP league as well. I'm kind of the same way. I just look at the stats and basically pick the guys that have the most stats. I don't even know if they're, I might drop a guy that's actually pretty good just having a struggling season. So I don't follow.
You just usually try to pick up the linebacker that tackles a bunch.
Yep, exactly.
Sack guys don't usually do much.
Exactly. Ryan's a big IDP guy.
I got leagues with like 11 players on defense.
Nice.
You start. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I love it, though.
That's crazy. I couldn't do it. It's too much. Too much. All right, guys, we got a lot to get into. Let's go ahead and just get into the news and notes for the week.
News and notes from around the league.
News and notes are sponsored by ExpandTheBoxScore.com, putting advanced stats in your hand like never before. You can get an NFL package for only $15 for a year, guys. It's pretty cheap. You can use my promo code GF210 to save 10%. Again, that's GF210 to save 10% at ExpandTheBoxScore.com. All right, kick off the first thing we got here is, Stafford was kind of iffy all week last week, and he was ruled out Sunday morning. Ryan, we'll go to you first. I think he's supposed to miss a few weeks, probably at least this next week. What are you doing with guys like Marvin Jones, Kenny Golladay, and such? Are you downgrading them?
Yeah, absolutely downgrading him. I'm not benching Golladay. He's still such a good player and such a good red zone threat. I'm definitely not having the expectations I would. And if I have somebody with a really good matchup, I may consider it, but I'm still not completely ruling him out because of the talent-wise. Marvin Jones is going to be super matchup dependent for me, but without Stafford, man, it's a different ball game.
All right, I'm going to give you a scenario.
He's one of them. He's been.
I'm going to give you a scenario with Golladay. I have Curtis Samuel, and he's playing the Atlanta Falcons this week. So, Curtis Samuel or Kenny Golladay?
That is absolutely terrible. Probably Curtis Samuel, because Atlanta is just gold for anyone facing them, and you can play the upside on it, but I'd feel real bad either way. I wouldn't like my decision either way. And I'm glad it's yours, not mine to make.
Yeah, it's rough, because I actually made the decision this past Sunday, too. I went with Curtis Samuel as well this past Sunday, and it didn't actually pay off. I think Samuel had 11, Galladay had 14, so it wasn't terrible, but I'm left again with making that decision this week as well, so I think I might go Samuel one more time.
Yeah, might as well go back to the well, try it out again.
Yep. All right, AJ, let's go to you on this next one here. Darius Slayton, rookie for the Giants. He blew up this past week, 10 for 121 and 2 touchdowns. If you watched the DFS show this past Friday, he was my sick call of the week, so it panned out pretty well. I cashed all my lineups in DFS with him. Talk about him a little bit for the rest of the season. What are you thinking? When Shepard comes back, does he still have a role?
I don't think he has much of a role, and I think a lot of it also has to do on the fact as to whether Evan Ingram's going to be in or out. His value what's his name? Wright Evan. I'm trying to remember who the tight end is that replaced him. He becomes very, very...
Ellison. Rhett Ellison, I believe.
Ellison, yeah, he becomes very, very role dependent on that as well. That being said, he's a flex play at best.
Agreed.
He's not somebody that I would potentially look to for. He's a bye week fill-in.
Agreed. It's funny because so twice this year, so Galladay in my dynasty league is my wide receiver 3, and twice this year I've benched him for somebody else. Once I benched him for Robbie Anderson, and once I benched him for Curtis Samuel this past week. And both times I've benched him, Slayton's had 2 touchdowns. So I think I'm just going to have to put Slayton in this next time.
The thing was, I have my 16-team league. They have fixed waivers across the board, and I was trying to let those clear in the morning, and I got a late start on Sunday, and I was going to pick him up, and I was going to flex him, but I had to end up going with Taylor Gabriel instead. In the process of that, I was like, I would have won by significantly more if I'd actually played Slayton. That being said, wouldn't trust him past 1 week.
Agreed.
His value is highly dependent upon who's playing.
Agreed. All right, Ryan, I want this one for you because I know you were a big supporter of him in his rookie season. He was terrible his rookie season. He's been okay so far this year. Finally has his little bit of a breakout game, Mr. Ronald Jones. And the guy who can't catch has 8 catches this past weekend. Talk about him a little bit.
I think the can't catch thing goes more towards old film study and player evaluation. I think it's just because we didn't see somebody do something in college doesn't mean it's just their system. And he just proves you can't need patience, man. Like, we give up on these rookies dynasty-wise super quick, and you can't. But I like him going forward. I mean, he's not going to be an RB1 by any means, but matchup dependent, he can have some good games. I hate him this week, but going forward, that doesn't mean that I won't want to play him other weeks. Him against the Saints isn't the greatest matchup in my eyes, but I think he's definitely has upside to be that RB2 range.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's definitely matchup dependent, and this week is a tough matchup with the Saints. So I don't know if you got a better option. I'm definitely going with the better option. But, at this point of the year, you may have some guys that are injured. So maybe you plug him into RB2 slot, and, he gives you some decent upside there. All right, speaking of running backs getting targets, Kareem Hunt returns this week, and he gets 9 targets. I think he only had 4 carries, but he gets 9 targets out of the backfield. What are you doing with Kareem Hunt, and what do you think of Nick Chubb going forward, AJ?
It's funny that you bring that up. I traded about 4 or 5 weeks back. I traded Chubb and Tyreek Hill for DeAndre Hopkins and Bell in my 16-team league. The goal more than anything was to try and skip a bye because running backs run extremely short. It's a 0.4 PPR, which is potentially the oddest format I've ever had. But it's only a 1-week sample size. That being said, I believe Kareem Hunt had a total of 10 or 11 touches. It's trending that direction, but his ceiling definitely becomes significantly lower, and it's going to cut his touches by at least 5 to 10. I'm not banking on Chubb to be as explosive. I'm not going to sit him just due to the fact that you can't because he's still going to have so much volume. So,
yeah, I agree. I'm a Chubb owner, and my rival in my division actually has Kareem Hunt, so it's going to be interesting how we both go through the rest of the season using those 2 guys. All right.
We had a guy
I'll say.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I actually completely disagree with Nick Chubb. thing. I fully believe it. Averaging 5.3 carry. He is one of only 2 players averaging 100 yards a game. I know that they don't know what they're doing coaching-wise in Cleveland, but you got to give this guy the ball, man. And
I don't disagree. I think he's just going to lose touches largely.
But the thing is, he doesn't really need to. Right now, he has 919 yards on the season, and which is 3rd in the league. And attempt-wise, he's down at 7th at 174. So he's doing it without a ton of touches. The big issue is getting him in the red zone and opening that up. But I think going forward, you're not going to really have to worry about him not being an RB1 because one, RB1's terrible right now, and 2, he is one of the most talented backs in the league. Yes, Kareem Hunt is electric, yada, 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 but he's still not that part of talent. As we've seen in Kansas City, they've made everybody look great.
Yeah, that's a good point there because I had that question going into the season with Kareem Hunt is, was he really that good or was it just Kansas City that was that good? I think Kareem Hunt is a good talent, and obviously, he showed it last week with the 9 targets. I think he is going to be a good addition to this team. But yeah, I think Chubb still gets the volume, and we've seen before he doesn't need the volume. I think what was it last year, his rookie season? There was one game when they still had Carlos Hyde where he had 3 carries for he had 2 80-yard runs or something. So yeah, it was insane. So I agree. I think you got Chubb. You're not too worried about it. I think Kareem Hunt is definitely flex worthy, maybe even RB2 worthy if it's a good week. But I think both of them are good. All right, guys, let's go to one more thing here. We got 2 wide receivers. We got Lockett and Manny Sanders, both injured. Ryan, kind of talk to these guys a little bit. What are you going to do with these guys going forward here with these injuries?
Tyler Lockett, I think it's okay from what they said today. It was just a bad contusion, and it was swollen. The way they originally said it, I thought his leg was going to need amputated or something, so looks like we got lucky there. So we got a bye week from the heel. I'm going to pay attention to it, not panicking. Manny Sanders, I'm a little bit more worried. Plus, they're precarious quarterbacks. Plus, there's so many guys there. And I think Deebo Samuel's really stepped up for them as well. So I'm a little more nervous about him than Lockett, where I'm not worried at all. But that's your team there, so you kind of should probably be in the end. I'll probably be bothering you more if I'm trying to find news on Manny Sanders.
Yeah, I think the Sanders thing is obviously it does hurt you. I think a little bit. Obviously you probably don't have him as your receiver 1, 2, or 3. You may have been using him that way, but I do think that it does hurt the offense in general. We saw when he went out, the offense last night, how terrible it was. Because Sanders is the guy that can get open. I think when without Kittle and without Sanders last week, they couldn't find receivers that were open. It was Deebo mainly was the only one that was finding any space. And I think that hurts the offense in general, which is going to hurt their scoring, which is going to hurt, Jimmy Garoppolo. It's going to hurt Breida. If they're not getting into the red zone, it's going to hurt Kittle. So overall, I think it hurts the offense, but I think that I'm hoping that it's just a minor thing. I mean, it's a non-contact rib injury, which I've never seen before. I don't even know how that happens, but he seemed to be just running just fine, and all of a sudden he just pulled up lame when it's a rib injury. So I don't know if it happened on the play before. So hopefully he does.
That is weird.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. They showed him running his route, and then he grabbed his side halfway through the route, and I don't know what happened. No one even touched him.
And they said there was a rib injury.
Yeah, it was a rib injury.
So weird.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe he pulled something. I don't know. It was a weird injury. I've never seen a non-contact rib injury before.
It's how getting old.
Yeah. All right. So last week's pick'ems, Ryan, you got me again this week. It was a terrible week, man. We were terrible last week, both of us. It was. I think you got me 6-4 last week, which puts you up, I believe, 84-77 on the year. So I'm trying to make a little bit of a comeback here, but not making too much of a comeback. I'm kind of falling behind. So I got a few more weeks to make up my ground, or my Twitter avatar is going to be whatever you decide to put up there. So it should be interesting. All right. And then, AJ, you were out for a while. We got you back, man. Are you good now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. All right, good. I know your computer froze up there. I guess you're on your phone now because you got the narrow screen going on. But
you get the nice close-up now.
Yeah. It's all right, man. It's all right. We got you back. All right. Let's go ahead and do the game previews, guys.
This week's game-by-game previews.
All right. First game on the docket, of course, is the Thursday night game. We got the Steelers at 5-4, going to the Browns at 3-6. This game in the preseason probably looked really good on paper. Obviously now it's not so much. The Browns aren't very good. Steelers don't have Ben Roethlisberger anymore, so they're not very good either. But rest of the season,
they're the 6th playoff seed, man.
Yeah, they ain't gonna make it. Come on, man. I know you're a Steelers fan, but
Dream team.
Yeah, the dream team, the Browns.
I hope it ends in a tie.
All right, let's. Sorry, I lost my train of thought here. Rest of the season, OBJ or Juju? Oh, AJ, to you.
You know that one's not even close. Juju has been struggling just more due to the fact that his quarterback is Mason Rudolph. Don't trust a person with 2 first names, potentially a quarterback, but that might just be me. If you look at it just in the box of average per season, they're within a point of each other. OBJ is at a 12.5, and if memory serves right, Juju was, I think, at 11.5. But of the 9 games that Juju's played, only 5 of the 9 have been double digits, and the 4 that he has had less than 10 for double digits, they've been like 6 points, 7 points. You have especially in PPR, you have a higher floor with OBJ. He's much more consistent. My biggest curse in fantasy, the way that I typically build my, especially season-long teams, is I like high floors, but I have very low ceilings, which gives me little to no variance. Double digits for Landry for 7 out of his 9, and the 2 that he had that were just outliers were both 5 points, and even when he had an off day, he was at least consistent. It wasn't 5 points and 8 points. So it's OBJ by a mile. The target share is significantly bigger, too.
Good stuff. Ryan, I know as a Ravens fan, I want to have you chime in here a little bit. What do you think of this OBJ versus Juju thing here rest of the season?
I think I'm going on OBJ on it. He's been really kind of chirping about not getting the ball, and it looks like basically else really spreading out, especially he's dumping off for the running backs a lot recently, so I think it has to be a lot more of her shots are going. So I'm going to lean OBJ just because I know what he can do with the bad quarterback. Apparently Baker's worse than we expected, but that's a different story. But yeah, I'm going to lean OBJ on that one, but long term I actually still OBJ for me.
Yeah,
I think just having Kareem Hunt back as well, you're going to have to respect the play action significantly more because, I mean, Hunt's got fresher legs, so that's going to stretch the field and open it up more for OBJ.
Yep.
That might be me.
I think eventually, too, I think we saw last year when Kitchens took over midseason, or as the offensive coordinator, he kind of just slung it all over the field and had like no fear because, who cares? We just got rid of our coach and we're having a bad season. I think if they get to the point where they're just kind of, oh, well, screw it, let's just call whatever we can call and just sling it around the field, they might go back to that more aggressive offense where I think they got so much hype that he actually kind of got really conservative with his offense. I think maybe down the stretch here, he may be slinging all over the field, and I think OBJ could benefit from that as well. All right, Ryan, let's go to you with this. Let's go ahead and pick this game first. Ryan, who you got? Steelers at Browns. Who you got?
Pulling the upset for Cleveland this week.
All right.
I think they match up well against Pittsburgh. They have a pretty versatile offense, and they have a defense that can get after the quarterback without having to bring the blitz, which I think might be able to give Mason Rudolph some extra problems where they can actually leave guys on coverage against the running backs. I'm pulling Cleveland.
All right, good stuff. What do you got, AJ?
I'm taking the Browns. I think they're starting to heat up. Playoff team potentially for your fantasy team in terms of real life football. Don't believe so, but I'm taking the Browns. I think they're heating up at the right time.
All right. Well, this is a game I can pick up on, Ryan. If I'm correct, I'm going with the Steelers here. I just think that defense is playing so much better. I think they can actually lean on their defense. I think James Conner's coming back this week. They can lean on the run game, limit Mason Rudolph a little bit, and the Browns can't stop the run, so it should help them out overall. So I'm going with the Steelers in this one. Next up, we got the Cowboys at the Lions this week. And we kind of already talked about this a little bit, Ryan, but let's go to you real quick and just give us your idea of Galladay and Jones going forward. What kind of scenarios are you going to be benching these guys? Like, what kind of receiver are we looking at for a bench?
This week, if I can bench both, I'm probably going to. Probably that Curtis Samuel range, like you mentioned, like those high floor guys and good matchups. I'm going to lean towards more. Dallas is a tough defense, and we got Jeff Driscoll is not Matt Stafford, and he's not close. If you looked at just yards per attempt, it went from 8.6 to 5.8. That's not good for this offense moving forward. maybe they'll have to force it, but they'll probably lean a bit more on the run game than anything, even though that's also bad. So I'm not feeling good about the matchup for them, especially this week.
All right. Go ahead and pick this game. Cowboys at Lions. Who you got?
Cowboys.
Cowboys. You on Cowboys too, AJ?
Yeah, I gotta say the bigger fantasy impact's gonna probably be the Lions, though I'm really liking J.D. McKissick, and his touches are increasing every week. He seems to be the guy that's catching the upswing for everything, especially with going to Jeff Driscoll, which I know I can't even spell. So.
Yeah, I think Ty Johnson is still, I believe, in the concussion protocol too, so that opens up McKissick even more. I'm going Cowboys as well on this one. I don't think the Lions with Driscoll can do a whole lot of anything, even if they're at home, and that defense can't stop anybody either, so I think Zeke has a huge game here. All right, next game on the docket is the Jags at 4-5 going to the Colts at 5-4. AJ, we're going to you on this one. Basically, Nick Foles returns this week. What do you expect from Nick Foles in this offense?
I expect Foles to come out slinging the ball. People forget, especially in his record-breaking season, at least at the time when he was throwing the ball to guys like Riley Cooper, how big his arm was, especially for the deep ball. It was a very small sample size, but he targeted DJ Shark. I think it was 2 or 3 times in the play that he broke his collarbone on when he threw that touchdown was to DJ Shark. I think it's going to increase Shark's explosiveness for everything that's going to be going on there, and it's going to have his floor be significantly higher. As a DJ Shark owner, I really like the fact that he's going to hopefully get at least more consistent play. That being said, I think since they're going to potentially throw the ball a lot more, it's going to decrease Fournette's touches, but when you still got a guy that's getting 15 to 20 consistently and has a floor of 13 to 14 in terms of PPR points most weeks, there's nowhere to go but up for the Jags. So I think it's a great thing.
Yep, I agree.
We don't get to see Minshew Mania and that awesome mustache potentially for the rest of the season, but
yeah, I agree. I think Foles is definitely good for this offense. I think we saw, what he could do in a brief, small sample. I think you're right. I think he threw like a 40-yard touchdown to Shark on the play that he got injured on. So if he picks up where he left off, I think this offense will be good. I think Westbrook.
Yeah, they got to respect the play action significantly more, especially with Foles behind center. So.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. All right, let's go ahead and pick this one. Jags at Colts. Who you got, AJ?
I got Jags.
Jags. Ryan, who you going with?
I have the Colts. I like the team overall a little bit more. I know Brissett's out, but I think they're talented roster.
Yeah, I think I have the Colts as well. Being at home, I think helps them a little bit. I think they're starting to play a little bit better. I think Marlon Mack could get going. I think that offense could be decent enough with Hoyer under center, and if the Brissett, I don't know if he's coming back this week or not, but he can definitely help out. I think I'm going Colts. All right, next game is the Broncos at 3-6 going to the Vikings. Ryan, so is it return to fantasy relevance for Kyle Rudolph? He had a couple games here in a row that he's been pretty good. Are you going back to Kyle Rudolph here?
I am, basically because, one, you have no chance at the tight end position unless you have a top guy. But his target share has picked up over the last 4 weeks. The first 6 weeks of the season, the most targets he had in any game was 4. And he's had over 5 threes the last 4 weeks. So I like that it's trending that way. The yards haven't been there, though, to go with it. But the thing that has is that red zone presence with Thielen being out. So if Thielen's out, it's wheels up for Rudolph for me. If he's back, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious. I'm going to be following his injury on that.
All right. Yeah, I agree. I think when Kirk Cousins went there, everybody was kind of like, buying Rudolph because, he was so good in Washington with the tight end and Jordan Reed that they thought, he just go there and Thielen or Rudolph's going to be another fantasy option up there. But then they struggled last year. Rudolph blocked a lot more than he was going out for the pass, but I think that we've seen sort of the emergence of Kirk Cousins in this offense. I think this offense with Dalvin Cook is more dynamic, which opens up Rudolph a little bit more. So, yeah, I think Rudolph is definitely a plug-and-play for me at the position. All right, let's pick this game, Ryan.
I don't know how you have 4 catches, 14 yards, though.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That's pretty bad. Let's go ahead and pick it. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going Minnesota on this. I think there's just a better team all around. I think they're pretty healthy. No one's going to stop that run game, especially Denver.
All right, good stuff. Your computer's frozen again, Ryan. I don't know if you can reset it or something.
Yeah.
I can hear the audio, but your face is frozen. All right, AJ, who do you got? Broncos at Vikings. Who are you picking here?
As a Broncos fan, it hurts me, but I got to go the Vikings. I actually live 2 miles from an official Vikings bar, actually, in Missouri, which is kind of cool. That being said, I have to agree with Ryan. I think Rudolph is extremely important, especially with Thielen being out. He's going to become much more touchdown-worthy in terms of what's there to have a great day, but he doesn't become touchdown-dependent as long as Thielen is out.
Agreed. I'm going with that as well. I think the Vikings do get this game at home. They're playing really well right now. They look like one of the best teams in the NFC. So I think the Vikings get this one against the Broncos. All right, next game up. And usually I give this one to Ryan. I don't know why I didn't go to Ryan this week, but we're going to you, AJ, on this one. The Texans at 6-3, at the Ravens at 7-2. What do you expect from DeAndre Hopkins off this bye week, rest of the season? Do you think he gets back to being the guy we saw last year, or do you think that he continues being what we saw this year, kind of struggling a little bit?
I think with the addition of Kenny Stills stretching the field, he's going to lose. My anticipation was he was going to lose TDs this year. The target share has been up. He hasn't been able to catch the ball as much, but as long as the opportunities are there, like I was saying earlier, he has an extremely high floor in terms of everything that's going to go on there. I would not expect him to do what he did last season, but I would expect him to be the steady hand in that offense. 12, 13-point PPR floor, but can still do 25. Maybe on a good week, but he's gonna probably revert a little bit more to what Andre Johnson was, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Lots of catches, lots of targets, lots of receptions, but his touchdown share is not going to be as high as it was last year.
All right, good stuff. Let's go ahead and pick this one. Ryan, how do you pick this one first, since you're the Ravens fan here? Who do you got? Texans at Ravens.
I'm picking my boys. They're the hottest team in football right now, man.
Yes, sir, they are. And you got your MVP candidate there too. I think that I put a poll out on Twitter with him. I think I put Christian McCaffrey and Russell Wilson in there, and I think he actually won. I think Lamar Jackson actually won the poll. So
he's still not my. I still think Russ is MVP as of now.
Yeah, I think some of that recency bias kind of happening. I did the poll on Sunday before Russ played Monday night, so I think that kind of had a little bit to do with it because he had that ridiculous run on Sunday.
Yeah, that 47-yard run got everybody super hyped. But no, he's been great, man. I love it. But yeah, let's put the brakes. Russ is there, and he's killing it right now. If Jackson wins 3 out of his next 4 with the matchups they have, including San Francisco, which we'll have to do some sort of wager on, then it's a different story.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, we have a tough stretch. I mean, we got we got the Packers, we got the Saints. I mean, we got some tough matchups coming up here. It's going to be a tough stretch for us. AJ, who you got for this game?
Same here.
I'm going to take the Texans. I think the week off to give them a little bit of rest and get healthier significantly, especially with DeAndre Hopkins not being at 100% for most of the year. I think it's going to help him out. Carlos Hyde is still getting 15 to 20 touches per game. I think he's going to start tagging some touchdowns. Maybe I'm just kind of hopeful. Don't own him anymore, but I'm taking the Texans just because of the rest.
Yeah, I'm actually going Texans as well, and it's more about trying to catch Ryan in this pick'em contest that we got here. But I'm going to take the Texans here. I think the other guy, the other side of the field's an MVP candidate as well. He's probably running 4th right about now. Is Deshaun Watson. He's been so good this year. He's the reason that they are 6-3. They'd be much worse if he wasn't back there. I think they have a chance to go into Baltimore and get this victory. I think if I was picking this game with money on it, I'd still go Ravens. But because I'm trying to get this pick'em game here and trying to catch Ryan, I'm going to go with the Texans here. All right, we got one more game before the break, guys. It's going to be probably one of the most terrible games on the slate here. The Jets at 2-7 going to the Redskins at 1-8. Ryan, we'll go to you on this one because you're a Haskins guy. Could this be sort of his breakout game? I don't say breakout like he's going to be like the next Peyton Manning, but just a fantasy viable candidate for at quarterback this week.
Is that the game you're getting at home on TV for the 1 o'clock?
That'll be the one we get. Yes, that'll be the one we get, unfortunately.
Oh, you have my pity. Man, the Jets defense, they're giving up the 15th or 11th most yards to QBs this year. And, I mean, it could be worse. But Haskins, I could see him maybe getting like 230, 240-yard game and 1 or 2 touchdowns with the pick. I mean, it could be maybe a top 24 performance. but I'm not looking for him to sniff top 12 or anything like that. I wish it was higher because I do believe in Dwayne Haskins long term, but as of now, I still don't love it.
Yeah, they're talking him up big time here in Washington and what he can possibly do. But I think that it's going to be tough for him. I think he's just still kind of learning the offense. He struggled quite a bit, with the offense in the beginning of the season. They wouldn't even put him in. So I think that they're not going to be great. I think the Jets is a good matchup. They can actually look decent against the Jets, but for fantasy purposes, I'm not touching them. Unfortunately, we got to pick this game. Unfortunately, Ryan, who you got, Jets or Redskins?
Hold up. I think we'll take the Jets on this one. I think they have a little bit more talent than the Redskins, and I think the Redskins are actively trying to improve their team for next year. So I'm going to go Jets.
All right. Who you got, AJ? Jets or Redskins?
Go in Jets. I think this is the perfect matchup for Le'Veon Bell. It's why you trade for guys that have a preferable good matchup in terms of what's there with really nobody behind him in terms of backing him up. And if he gets hurt, who are you going to roll? Ty Montgomery? All Bell all day. I'm taking the Jets.
Yeah, I'm going Jets as well. I really want to go Redskins here to be different than what Ryan would pick, but I think the Redskins are just so bad that there's just no way they win this game, even being at home. So yeah, give me the Jets as well. All right, guys, quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll do waiver wire pickups, and then we'll finish off the rest of the game. So hang tight. We'll be right back.
In the unpredictable world of fantasy sports, when all hope seems lost and chaos and confusion rule, one hero will rise. And change everything. Going for 2.com. Because no one remembers the extra point.
All right, guys, welcome back. I'm here with AJ and Ryan, and we're going to do some quick waiver wire pickups here, and then we'll finish off the rest of the games for this season, and then, of course, we'll do our Forgotten Fantasy Player at the end of the show. So, Ryan, you wrote the article today. You said waiver wires is pretty tough this week. Let's go to you first and give us a couple of your guys for the waiver wire this week.
First guy I want to start out with, I can't remember if I mentioned him on the show or not last week, but I'm going to go back, and that's Jacob Hollister. He looked great looked great last week for Russell Wilson, and not going to play him this week, obviously, because he's on a bye, but he's somebody you can stash. He was second in the team with targets with 10. He scored twice, and in something where we're not seeing consistent volume at the tight end position, where it's garbage sandwich, I'm going to grab him when I can. And then I'll let you guys have those other ones.
All right, AJ, let's go to you. Who do you got for your waiver wire pick this week?
Did you say me?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, I especially since I typically play in deeper leagues, I try to find what I call the non-chalk wire guys. Andy Isabella has had 2 double-digit weeks in terms of what's there. I thought he was going to be filling more of the Keyshawn Johnson role in terms of what was going to be there. I don't know if it's going to be consistent. I don't know if it's necessarily going to stay there, but the target share is there. That being said, I had to pick up Taylor Gabriel because I slept on Darius Slayton because I didn't want to burn my wire one pick for what was there. You can also go Hunter Renfrow, Josh Reynolds, Cole Beasley. They're all in that kind of I'll call it the Cole Beasley style wide receiver. You're hoping to get that 15-point week out of them, but they're going to be very touchdown dependent potentially on what's there. If you're going to go with a running back, you might want to go Gus Edwards. He might Tolbert and get the TD, but it's very, very TD dependent in terms of what's there.
All right, yeah, I got just one guy that I wanted to mention. He's kind of flying under the radar a little bit. We heard today that Matt Breida re-injured his ankle. He left the game last week. The 49ers run 2 running backs. No matter what, they're going to run 2 running backs. So it's going to be Tevin Coleman and Raheem Mostert. Of course, earlier in the season, he had Mustard. I think I was calling him must start earlier in the season because he was just that good.
That is true.
Going against the Cardinals, that's a great matchup for him. And with Tevin Coleman back there as well. I think those two could definitely do some damage. So Mostert this week is my personal ad. You got any other guys, Ryan, you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I mean, the most obvious one who's available in most places right now, and that's Brian Hill. He's going to be RB1 in Atlanta. I know Atlanta's not great this year, but he's still going to be their volume guy. And if he's out there on the wire, you have to get him. Like, there's no questions. He's priority. He's my priority ad this week, no matter what.
Yeah, you mentioned the Niners against the Cardinals. Who's the tight end that was replacing Kittle? Because I know
Dwelly.
Yeah, the Cardinals give it up all the time to the tight end. So.
Good point. If Kittle's out again, then Dwelly is definitely an ad because he had a good game against him the week before when Kittle was playing. So if Kittle's out one more time, then he's definitely a good player for sure. I'm going to ask you both this because y'all know y'all both playing some kind of deep leagues. We heard today that Colin Kaepernick's going to do a workout for the teams this Saturday. If you're in a deep league, are you going to be adding Colin Kaepernick if you've got a bench spot, Ryan?
Probably not, because if they add him, they're not adding him to be a starter right away. He has to learn an offense, and it's going to take time. He's just a depth piece right now. So, no, not for me.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to have that. That's a no for me, bro. That's a hard pass.
All right, and we do have one question here on YouTube that just came across from Rockout. Would you drop Jared Goff for Nick Foles or Carson Wentz, Ryan?
Maybe for Wentz, because I'm a complete Wentz believer. Unfortunately, I think the talent's still there. It's just in that team always tends to peak later in the season. So I'd probably do it for them because I don't believe in the Rams' offense right now, and I don't understand why it's so bad. But I think I'd drop him for Wentz, but not for Foles.
Not for Foles. All right.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan on that. I think you would probably try to pick up Wentz. He's got the better offense. That being said, maybe you take a middle of the line piece if you've got a decent enough starting lineup and try to trade for somebody like Josh Allen. That's what I would do. I've been running Josh Allen for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and with the exception of when he played the Patriots, he's averaging, I think it's north of 18 or 19 points per game. Yeah. Very, very steady. So you might want to trade for a piece in terms of what's there if it's something you can afford to do.
Agreed. All right, guys, let's get back to the game previews now. Kick it off with this next game here. The Panthers at 2-7 going to the Falcons going to the Panthers. The Falcons are 2-7 going to the Panthers at 5-4. AJ, we're going to go to you on this one here. Is Kyle Allen a streamable quarterback this week with that terrible Falcons defense? Can you start him in a pinch?
If you're in a 20-team league, maybe. If you're anywhere in the neighborhood of 12 or 16, unless people are holding on to 2 quarterbacks, especially deeper in the season, I'm going to have to say no. The availability of guys on the wire, at least in my 16, and I've got people that are stashing 2 quarterbacks or at least 1 quarterback. So you're talking about 20 to 24 quarterbacks. I mean, Sam Darnold was still available. Nick Foles was still available. Mason Rudolph has a significantly higher floor with less variance in terms of what's there than what Kyle Allen has. I call it the Alex Smith style a la quarterback. Consistently the 13 to 14 point guy, but very low ceiling, even lower floor potentially for the matchup. Unless you are in a complete pinch, there's no way I would start him at all.
All right, I'm going to ask you a question because I actually trying to add him in off the waiver wire because I may get to start him. So my 2 quarterbacks that I have, because Cam Newton is on IR, I've got Jimmy Garoppolo, who didn't look very good this past week. And then I have Kyler Murray, who actually looks pretty decent against them the first time around, but I don't really trust him in that offense with that defense going against him. Would you start Kyle Allen over either of those 2, AJ?
I think it becomes a question of who your opponent is playing against you, and it becomes an issue of mitigating risk. That being said, the floor for Kyler Murray is probably the most likely outcome for Kyle Allen. I take the higher ceiling, and I start Kyler Murray.
Good stuff. Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm leaning. I'm adding Kyle Allen just for the hell of it, but I may end up putting Kyler Murray against my boys and just hoping and praying he can get some rushing yards and some maybe 1-2 passing touchdowns. All right, let's pick this game, Ryan. We'll go to you first. Falcons at Panthers. Who you got?
I'll take the Panthers on this. Atlanta's terrible this year, and I don't think as bad as we talk about Kyle Allen, I don't think he's as bad as a lot of people made him out to. He's put out decent games, and they still have weapons with Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore, who's having a low-key fantastic season, and Christian McCaffrey makes everybody better. So I'm going Carolina.
Good point. Who you got for this game, AJ?
I got to take the Falcons. It's just a gut. Nothing points to it actually potentially happening, but I think the Falcons are due.
Yeah, I mean, they looked good last week against the Saints. I mean, they weren't expected to come anywhere close to that game, and they ended up pulling that one out, so I was surprised, and they could definitely do it. I think if this was in their house, maybe I'd pick the Falcons, but because they're going to the Panthers, I'm going to take Panthers in this game as well.
Division rivalries do weird things.
This is true. This is definitely true. All right, next up we have the Bills at 6-3, going to the lowly Dolphins at 2-7, who are on a 2-game winning streak right now. Ryan, let's go to you. Actually, I don't have anything for this game. We'll just pick it and then we'll move on. I have literally no options of any kind of fancy relevance in this game whatsoever. So let's just pick this game, Ryan. Who you got? Bills, Dolphins.
Bills and Josh Allen, Devin Singletary, I think still have value.
All right.
And John Brown.
Yeah, I agree. Those three have been really good all year. AJ, who you got? Bills or Dolphins?
Bills, Josh Allen, like I said, is extremely consistent, but I'd pose the question, is this an opportunity to buy Devin Singletary low potentially before the game opens if you got a shot?
That's a good point. Yeah, I think that after his game last week, I think he had 8 carries after coming off that huge game the week before. I think he's definitely something you can probably buy low. All right, the next game is, we'll go to you, Ryan, and this one is the Saints at 7-2 going to the Bucs at 3-6. So for those patient O.J. Howard owners, we finally got a little bit of something from him. But can we trust him rest of the season? Is he someone you can plug into your lineups now, or it's just because it was the Cardinals?
No, it's not somebody you can trust right now. We've seen this Tampa offense this year make you think Mike Evans was fantastic. Then people said Mike Evans was cuttable. Then he was fantastic again. Seeing the same thing with Godwin. The targets aren't consistent to any one player. And it's been highly volatile all year. And we get one game with O.J. Howard after so many bad ones. It's just that volatility of that offense. I don't trust it. I mean, O.J. Howard's no different than any tight end numbers 9 through 24 where you're just hoping for 30 yards and a touchdown so you can get some production out of it.
All right. And, Ryan, you're frozen once again. I don't know what's going on. We got you in audio, but your video is frozen.
And how about now?
All right, now it's starting to reset. AJ, I'm going to go to you real quick on this. We got a question again on Facebook. So it's a trade offer. It's going to be Darren Waller for James Conner straight up. And the guy already owns Zeke, Tevin Coleman, Devin Singletary, and Damian Williams. Are you trading Darren Waller for James Conner?
If it's a standard league, now there's stuff on the wire that's significantly better. He on paper looks like he's had an extremely good year, but he's had 2 games that have been statistical outliers for what's there. Unless you are in a very tight end starved league, anything in PPR, there's other stuff that's out there. Eric Ebron sitting on the wire. Golden Everett getting a little bit of a bump in terms of what's there. He's averaging 5 to 8 targets a game over the last 3 games consistently, plus the red zone work. James Conner has had a really solid season with everything that's been going on, and he's getting 20 or 25 touches. I'm going to have to say no to that one.
All right, so let's pick this game. Go ahead and Saints and Bucks. AJ, who do you got?
I got to go with Bruce Arians. I think he's starting to catch momentum in terms of what's there. I got to go with the Bucks. That being said, division games do weird things. So they beat the Rams, and then all of a sudden they fell off the face of the earth like a week later. So.
Yeah, good point. Ryan, who you got? Saints at Bucks.
Good Saints. I mean, there's the better team. The Bucks are still very inconsistent in a lot of places, and I think the Saints, their loss this week was just kind of a blip. So I'm rolling with the Saints. I think they're one of the best teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I got the Saints too. I think if the Saints had won last week, I might have picked this as an upset game because Drew Brees and the Saints don't play as well on the road. But because they lost last week, they're going to be extra focused. I do think the Saints go into Tampa and get this victory, so give me the Saints as well. All right, AJ, we're going to you for this one. At the Cardinals, 3-6-1, going to my 49ers, who are now 8-1. You got to start two of these guys out of this game. Two guys, Kenyon Drake, David Johnson, and we're going to change it up here, not do Breida. We're going to do Tevin Coleman and Raheem Mostert, since Breida might not be playing in this game. So Kenyon Drake, David Moore, Tevin Coleman, or Raheem Mostert. Start two.
I got to go with Drake and Coleman, and I got to tie it back a little bit in terms of DJ's banged up, but more than anything, signed a 3-year, $39 million deal with $30 guaranteed, and on the back end of it is coming about $10 million. He's banged up. There's no point to start him in terms of risking him for what's there. Chase Edmonds is, I think, on next year for his deal is at $750,000, and Drake is in his last year of his rookie deal for $1 million. You're not going to necessarily do any better. So you might as well put the miles on Kenyon Drake for what's there. Why risk the Ferrari for what's there? In terms of Tevin Coleman has been the consistent back in terms of what's there. That being said, it really is a true timeshare. It's like last week, Coleman had 13 touches, Breida had 12. You can't get any more 50-50 than that. But Tevin Coleman's been getting the goal line work for what's there. So I've got to start Drake and I've got to start Coleman. They're just the consistent pieces that are there.
All right, good stuff. Go ahead and pick this game. Cardinals at 49ers. Who you got?
I got to take the Niners. Having lived in Arizona for close to 20 years, I'd love to pick the Cardinals, but it just doesn't make any sense. I got to go Niners.
All right, Ryan, are you going to risk it this week? Are you going to take the Cardinals this week against my Niners, or are you going with Niners?
Ooh, I'm going to get Niners. I can't do it. I was joking around before the show, but let's be real, man. That front seven is unlike anything Kyler Murray has seen in his NFL career, and he's going to be running for his life.
Yeah, I think we came out that last game against the Cardinals a little flat. I don't think that's going to happen this week. We're a little angry from this past game, and I think we take it out on the Cardinals. Being at home definitely helps us, so I'm taking the Niners as well. All right, a couple more games here. We got the Patriots at 8-1 coming off their bye, going to the Eagles. Ryan, you got to start one of these guys. Jordan Howard or Sony Michel. Who are you starting?
I wish I could pick James White, but out of those guys, I'm going Sony Michel. Jordan Howard's actually played fairly well this year, which I was looking at the rushing numbers today, and I was absolutely shocked that he's running back 17. I'm sorry, that's not right. He was higher than that. He's running back 16. So I was kind of shocked to see that he has more yards on the season than Michel. But if you're looking at it, the Patriots defense is still fantastic. They're not giving up much anywhere. And I believe in what they're doing, especially after taking that loss recently to Baltimore. They're not going to be messing around.
Agreed. All right, go ahead and pick this game.
Yeah.
Go ahead and pick it.
I'm going Patriots.
Patriots?
Super exciting. Yeah.
AJ, who you got?
Gotta go Patriots.
Yep, sweep it. Go on Patriots as well. All right, another terrible game here. We got the Bengals, and really, actually the Raiders are pretty decent, but the Bengals are just that bad. Bengals at 0-9, going to the Raiders at 5-4. Mixon had a good game last week, so can we go back to Mixon this week, AJ?
There was something that I was seeing on social media that was trending. They were trying to call him Ryan One Read Finley because he couldn't read squat last week. They're going to lean on Mixon. Last two games, he had 21 touches, including catches, and I believe it was at least just 30 on the ground last week. Touches equal opportunities, and he's going to get the goal line work for what's there. I'm going to take 30 just on the ground all day. Last two games in PPR have been 17 a pop. Unless you've got a stable of backs where you've got 2 or 3 better pieces, I cannot not start him against the Raiders.
Yep. What about you, Ryan? I know you're a big Mixon guy. You starting Mixon this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna start him I'm gonna start him this week reluctantly. It's weird because I know he's had a terrible year. He looked good last week. He looks explosive against Baltimore. It was very strange seeing the way he ran. And it kind of reminded me how good a player he was. So I was losing a lot of faith in him because I have a ton of shares of him mistaken to sell him off. But I think he's still a solid back. I just think that team's bad, but he's still going to get enough volume to make him fantasy relevant, especially on bye week hell this week.
Yep. Yep, I'm with you. I think I'm going back to Mixon as well. Actually, someone in my one of my chats actually said that Mixon was on the waiver wire, so that's how bad it had gotten that he gotten dropped. So that's pretty crazy. But I think Mixon, you can go back to him again. The Raiders' defense actually, at least against the runs, is actually really good. But Mixon does get the volume in the passing game as well, so I think he can make up those points there. All right, let's pick this game. Is anyone going with the Bengals?
No.
I didn't think so. All right, we're all taking the Raiders there.
Pass.
Moving on to the Bears at 4-5 and the Rams at a surprising 5-4. AJ, finish this sentence for me. Todd Gurley is he A, an RB1, an RB2, RB3 flex, or is he a bench player? What you got for Todd Gurley?
He's an RB2 in terms of potential production with a very low RB1 ceiling. That being said, the volume of touches that he has, he's still extremely efficient, but I don't think they've had him go over 20 touches more than once this year.
Yep.
He's Todd Gurley. You got to play him. Unfortunately, he's not living up to the top 4 to 7 that you took him in round 1 for your pick, but I can't not play him.
Yeah, I think that they might end up giving some more volume here. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, last year they gave him like tons of volume. I know he's been injured and there's that knee issue, but they're not getting anybody any volume in that running game really. They just changed their entire offense, and it seems like they're just not playing very well this year.
It's a line, man.
Yeah, they're lined with. Has Andrew Wentworth been out at left tackle?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they definitely have some injuries across that front line. That's definitely hurting them for sure.
I think they have like 2 or 3 guys on it who've been hurt.
Wow. All right, so yeah, Todd Gurley, I was the one buying him in this offseason, especially when they had those knee injuries coming out. He was dropping into the second round. I was drafting him everywhere, and I'm regretting the decision now because he's definitely not been very good this year. I think he's in that RB2, closer to RB3 flex range for me. He does have that ceiling, though, obviously, of an RB1, so he has that opportunity to do that. He can fall into the end zone a couple times. All right, we got one last game to get to, and it's the Monday night game.
We pick him?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Let's pick this game. Bears at Rams. Ryan, who you got?
I'll take the Rams at home, even though I feel like I may regret it.
All right, I'm actually going to take the... You know what? I had the Rams down, but because you picked the Rams, I'm going to pick the Bears. I don't know why. Bears didn't play very well last week. They got the victory because they didn't look very good, but maybe they got enough confidence to go into L.A. and get this victory. So I'm going to go with the Bears in this one with the upset. All right, AJ, we're going to go to you for this last one here. Chiefs at Chargers. If you were a smart owner and you drafted both Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler this offseason knowing that Gordon might hold out, are they both startable in your lineup this week against the Chiefs?
Depending upon what your lineup is, yeah. I mean, if you've got a guy that's going to be at least a floor of 10 to 12, which is what Eckler's been, even where he was last year before Gordon was taking most of the volume and he took transposition of what was there volume-wise, I've got to start him. They're not in a Kamara Ingram a la 2 years ago situation in terms of production, but I'd take him. He's still got an upside of 20. I mean, Eckler's still got an upside of 20 points. That being said, the last 2 weeks, Gordon's been the volume back.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, especially with this offense that the Chiefs have, they're going to be putting up points. Eckler could get more involved just the fact that they're playing catch up, and Gordon is the guy that gets the ball in the red zone too. So I think they're both startable. If I owned them both, I'm probably starting Melvin Gordon and Eckler in this week against the Chiefs.
Well, and the fact that Keenan Allen is still having, I don't know what's going on with Keenan Allen. He's down ticking a little bit over the last handful of weeks. That's going to help Eckler's value a ton.
A little bit. You're being generous there. He's been terrible lately because I own him in my dynasty league. He started off like gangbusters, and I'm like, I got the wide receiver 1 this year, and then all of a sudden he just fell off the map. All right, let's pick this game, Ryan. Who you got? Chiefs at Chargers. Oh, we just lost Ryan. There we go.
Really? I'm here.
I'll
take the Chiefs. Chargers are a mess, and the Chiefs are just, I think, they're back to the gangbusters thing right now with Mahomes getting healthier and them having all the weapons they do. I don't think it's a very close game.
Oh, all right. What you got? Chiefs at Chargers, AJ?
Taking Chiefs, it doesn't look like Mahomes ever really got hurt.
Yeah.
What did he throw for? Was it 480?
Yeah.
Or was it 380? I
think it was 446, I believe.
Yeah, it was like and he's like 2.5, 3 weeks removed from minor knee surgery.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs as well. Sweep it. Can't pick against the Chiefs. They're just too good right now. All right, forgotten fantasy player time.
Get ready for GoingFor2.com's Forgotten Fantasy Player of the Week.
All right, AJ, I know in the chat a lot of times when we do this segment, you always have a guy that you always bring up. I don't know if that was going to be your guy or not tonight, but who you got for your Forgotten Fantasy Player?
It was. I really jokingly always say in the chat box, I call it the Zach Stacy Memorial Award, because Zach Stacy had one glorious year and then two what the heck happened to him years where he fell off with the Rams and then fell off with the Jets after he demanded to be traded. Helped me win my first fantasy title. I think he emerged after it was week 5 or so. I had to look it up a little bit. He had 973 yards over 12 games in which he fully played, 7 touchdowns. He averaged 20 carries alone just on the ground with another 2 to 3 catches. He's stepping back to Joe Mixon earlier, what we were talking about, prime example of just straight volume. He never quite hit the Mendoza line for 4 yards per carry of a running back, but it was such a glorious year in terms of what was there. Lost out later to Trey Mason the following year, and Trey Mason had his demons to fight, traded him to the Jets, and just kind of fizzled away into existence. People forget him, but I will never forget him.
Zach
Stacy.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's a great one because he's one of those guys that was a one-hit wonder that people did definitely forget about. I can't remember who he took over for that year. I know it was a good running back that they had there got hurt or something, and he took over for them, but it was a good season for him.
Was Steven Jackson?
It may have been Steven Jackson.
No, that was the year that he had went to the Falcons. He signed the big, I think it was 3-year, $24 million or something like that for the Falcons because they signed him for $8 million a pop.
Gotcha.
Only reason I remember is because I lived in St. Louis. So,
so you were all over that.
Yeah.
All right.
Poor Zach Stacy could try it out for the XFL and didn't get drafted.
Ouch.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Ouch. That hurts.
What about Trent Richardson? Did Trent Richardson try out?
Again, another one did not make the XFL rosters.
Wow, that's just how far he's fallen, man. It's crazy after his rookie season. Can't even make the XFL.
Can't forget the Trent Richardson meme of the giant hole to the left while he goes right.
That's definitely a popular meme for sure. All right, AJ, I know you're not like an analyst or anything, but you are all over Facebook. Are you in any Facebook groups that you want to promote right now?
Going for 2. You can catch me on there. I need to look more at the DFS stuff. I haven't had the time massively with work in terms of what's been going on, but there's a bunch of various groups that you can see me all over. So, or somebody can just drop me a line. I'm pretty accommodating. If somebody's got a question, feel free to ask. I enjoy this. This is my passion.
All right, good stuff. Ryan, where can we follow you at?
Find me at goingfor2.com. You can find me at dynastydraftroom.com. Find me here every Tuesday, and my waivers article on Tuesdays as well. I just had a Keyshawn Vaughn article drop today for my scouting report on the Vanderbilt running back. He's an exciting young player. Make sure to check that out too. I have that pinned on my profile. And I was trying to find out whose spot Zach Stacy took. And
Zach Stacy played at Vanderbilt, so good plug there.
Good stuff.
It was like the only other running back on that lineup was like Benny Cunningham.
Oh, yeah. Wow, yeah. I forgot Benny Cunningham started off. He had a decent week 1 or 2 and then got hurt.
Yep.
About week 4 or 5 and then faded off. He became a passing back for, I can't even remember what team it was. Yeah, kind of looks like a Penguin Waddle version completely of Duke Johnson.
Yeah. All right, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. I appreciate you both. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. Of course, goingfor2.com is the website. Here every Tuesday and Friday night doing the show. I'm on Facebook all over the place, so you can find me in all my group chats there. So good stuff. That's a wrap.